All right, this is chapter 6, lesson 6, solving inequalities, one-step equation inequalities with addition and subtraction. So, up until this point, we've been dealing with equations. Now we're going to be dealing with inequalities. So, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. It's the same idea, the same basic steps, especially for addition and subtraction. Multiplication and division, there's one switch, but addition, subtraction, everything is the exact same. You just add or subtract in order to get the variable by itself. So, when we're solving inequalities, in words, you can solve inequalities by using the blank, 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 and the blank, 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 blank. In those blanks, you're going to write the addition property of inequalities and the subtraction property of inequalities. So you can solve inequalities by using the addition property of inequalities and the subtraction property of inequalities. So these two properties actually are very similar to the addition and subtraction property that we've already used for equations. Okay, you're just dealing with inequalities. So, okay, same type of thing. For addition property, you add. For subtraction property, you're subtracting from both sides. Okay? When you add or subtract the same number from each side of an inequality, the inequality remains true. Okay? Again, very similar for equations, except now we're dealing with inequalities. So, for example, in symbols, for all numbers a, b, and c, if a is greater than b, then a plus c is greater than b plus c, and a minus c is greater than b minus c. And if a is less than b, then a plus c is less than b plus c, and a minus c is less than b minus c. So, for some examples, 2 is less than 4, positive 3 is less than or equal to positive 3, 5 is less than 7, 6 is greater than 3, negative 4 is greater than or equal to negative 4, and 2 is greater than 1. A blank is a mathematical sentence that compares quantities. So in that blank, you're going to write inequality. So an inequality is a mathematical sentence that compares quantities. So taking a look at an example, I want to solve x plus 3 is greater than 10. Okay? So when I write the inequality, I subtract 3 from each side because I have plus 3, so I need to use the subtraction property of inequality. When I subtract 3, 10 minus 3 is 7, so x is greater than 7. So that means I can substitute any number that's greater than 7 into my equation, my inequality, and it will be true. Okay? Then I have solve a plus 1/2 is less than or equal to 2. Graph the solution set on a number line. So I have a plus 1/2. I want to subtract 1/2 from both sides. Okay? 2 minus 1/2 is 1.5. So my solution is a is less than or equal to 1 1/2, which means a is smaller than 1 1/2. So I put 1 1/2 here as a closed circle because it's an equal sign. Closed circle, equal sign. Okay? And it's going to the left. Okay. So a couple things with open and closed dots. So when I'm graphing inequalities, an open dot is used when the value should not be included in the solution. So if it's a less than sign or a greater than sign, that's an open dot. If it's a greater than or equal to or a less than or equal to, it's a closed dot or a filled in circle. Okay? So a closed dot indicates the value is included in the solution, as with less than or equal to or greater than or equal to inequalities. Since the inequality x plus 7 is less than or equal to 7, and I graph the solution set on the number line. Alright, there's a couple try problems up below. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, try them out, and when you're done, we'll go over the answers together. Alright, now that you've had a chance to try out the try problems, let's go over the answers together. So the first question I have states, solve the inequality, a minus 3 is less than 8. Okay? So a minus 3 is less than 8. So all I need to do is use my properties of inequality that I'm given. So I'm subtracting right now, so I need to do the opposite, the inverse operation, which is adding. So I add 3 to both sides. And a is less than 8 plus 3, which gives me 11. The second one I have says h plus 4 is greater than 4, and then it wants me to graph my solution set. So again, I'm looking at plus 4, so I need to do the opposite, which is subtract. So I subtract 4 from both sides. So h is greater than 0, and then I need to graph this solution. So h is greater than 0, so that means it's an open circle because there's no equal sign. And h is greater than 0, so I'm going towards the right. So this is all my big numbers, okay? The last one that I have, number 3, x plus 6 is less than or equal to 7. So again, I'm going to go ahead and look at this. It says plus 6, so I need to subtract. So I subtract 6 from both sides. So I have x is less than or equal to 1. And then I need to graph this. So here's 0, here's 1. It's a closed circle because there's an equal sign. Okay? X is less than or equal to 1. So that means it's going in this direction. You can always substitute a value in if you're not sure which arrow it goes. So for example, if I put 0 in, 0 is less than or equal to 1. So that is true, so that means I'm going in the right direction. And that is the end of Chapter 6, Lesson 6.